Not every day I get to be surprised of what the tea looks like, and especially after drinking tea for so long, it's getting harder to get surprised, right? But this tea was my most recent discovery from my recent trip to China. This is from Fujian area. When I first saw this one, I thought, wow, never seen any white tea like that. And the color, the shape, but it's, I don't know if you see it, there's like different coloration. For some reason I thought that means bad, but when I tried this one for the first time, I thought I was like, wow, this is really good. And I made a mistake of brewing it for the first time because I got a sample of this like about 6 months ago before my recent trip, and I wasn't really understanding how to appreciate them until I met the farmer, and she explained to me how to brew this properly. There's no guide, you know. When you get samples from this like farmer, you never get any guides, right? I was there and then I saw this tea, like I was like, oh yeah, I've had this tea. I thought that tea was okay. It turned out I wasn't doing it right. With this kind of white tea, you're supposed to remove the stem, and that makes sense because this is so long. Look at this, like it doesn't even fit my guy one. So you're supposed to remove each of these stems, and you can do whatever you want with the stems. The Japanese like to roast them. I should try roasting them. But look at how imperfection it is. You know, there's like this imperfection, perfect tea. What it means is that you can still see it's a really good looking leaf. What it means is it's a full leaf, and the color looks like the green part, it looks really healthy. But at the same time, you can see a lot of like discoloration, and then the leaf itself is not perfect looking. There's some broken things, and this broken part and the result of sometimes they just broken because they put it in the bag, but it's also it's broken because it's not really broken. It's more like there's a bug bite to it, because this is a widely grown white tea. I was actually lucky enough to be able to visit the area where they grow this white tea, and it was really, really wild. It was messy in a good way. It's like nature, you know, nature is messy. But some of the best tea in China are this like messy looking, widely grown tea. And as far as I know, China has probably abundant of that, and this white tea comes from that area. What's funny is it was grown together with other farmers' white tea, and you can tell other farmers' white tea is like really neat and organized, where like this farm doesn't really get organized, which means there is an area where their white tea is grown, but they're not really like grown like everything is like, I don't know, 10 inches away, you know. They're more like widely grown, so it's almost like an adventure when you go there. They're not like flat scene either. They're not flat land, so they're all like kind of like on a slope. It's really cool. It was a lot of work because you kind of have to keep your balance on it, and the land is a bit slippery, you know. It's really, really cool. So I get to witness where this white tea come from, and that kind of like makes it special for me, why this white tea is special. Now, this white tea, unfortunately, it's not available for my shop. Right now, it's only available through the tea club that we have, and it's only going to be this month, and everybody only getting a little bit sample. Really, everybody only get like 5 or 6 grams. So hopefully you don't mess up this one-time experience, right? So I just go all the way boiling, and you're going to remove all the stems. I already, as you can see, I already removed most of the stem here. And then you just heat it with boiling water. This is fully organic, so if you really want to drink it, you can. It doesn't really have much flavor. I recommend using a gaiwan just because the flavor is kind of light. If you use like a big teapot, I'm afraid you can't really extract the flavor as much as you want it to. The first infusion tend to be weak, but because it's clean, organic tea, definitely feel free to drink the first infusion. It just doesn't really have anything yet. Now, let's smell this one real quick. Look how beautiful the color of the leaf is, like vibrant green, and then you can see how clean they are. You can see the trichomes. There's like this little tiny kind of fur just kind of like floating around. So this is also from Master Wang, which is, in my opinion, they make the best white tea in the world. I have not try any white tea from that is better than this particular farmer's white tea. And the secret is really just how clean the environment that they use. They don't use any pesticides. They don't have any certification, to be fair. But I was there, and they were very proud the fact that they only rely on the environment to grow their white tea, right? And then on top of it, it's just widely grown. So let's see the first infusion. So the first infusion is very quick. It's just to open up the flavor. It has this kind of fresh, grassy, green apple, kind of almost like an apple skin. So it's slightly, almost slightly citrus bite to it. Even on the first infusion are very, very smooth. There's no bitterness, obviously, and I'm using boiling water. Do not be afraid with using boiling water. When it comes to really, really good white tea like this, you don't want to use a lower temperature. I don't even wait. Sometimes people, they use boiling water, but then they'll put it to here first, and then wait until a couple minutes to cool it down before they serve it. With this, you can just go directly from your kettle directly to your gaiwan with boiling water. And the first infusion technically after rinse, the first infusion, you can just heat it hard, wait about 30-40 seconds, and then start from over there and see what you think about it. Okay, you don't even need a strainer because the leaf is kind of big. And I like to make this tea stronger and stronger. So before I even cool it down and then kind of trying to enjoy this tea properly, I'm just already kind of ready with the next infusion. Second infusion, another boiling water. Just cover it like that, and then slowly you're gonna enjoy this white tea. For the second infusion, I'm ready for a much stronger brew. Now, something that a lot of people make mistakes when they're drinking white tea for the first time, especially if they're not used to with a light flavored tea. They tend to not understand not everything have to taste strong, right? Drinking something taste strong doesn't necessarily equal its high quality. Really, really good white tea does not taste strong, but it's about the texture, how it coats your tongue, the aftertaste, how it feels here. It should feel really cooling and really, really kind of open up your throat. Those are the most important thing when you're drinking white tea. And you have to kind of mentally, and I don't want to say physically, but what I mean by that, in a way, it is kind of physically, because especially if you just had a big meal of really spicy food, like curry, or anything that is really, really green, affect your taste buds, and then you never had white tea for the first time, and then you never had white tea before, then you might even taste less than what it should be. So first of all, you don't even know how white tea should taste like, and then the fact that you just had something heavy, and then you try to drink a light white tea like this, it's just going to disappoint you a lot because your senses was not ready for it. So so how can you tell if it's light or is it just weak? Often you rely a lot on the texture, on how it still lingers in your mouth, whether or not it dry, whether or not make your tongue feel kind of like a sandpaper in a way. If the senses of your tongue become dry or become tight, that's not a really good white tea. If your white tea get really, really easy bitter after you're using boiling water, and then the flavor still kind of weak, but it's the strong part, it's just the bitter part, those are normally not a good white tea. Something like this, I can just brew it really strong, and it still doesn't get dry, it still doesn't really get bitter. And you can see, even at brewing, it's really strong. The color is still kind of light, but as you can see, the viscosity of this liquid, it feels very heavy, and it looks almost like a sugar water, almost like a honey. Ooh, the smell is amazing now. It's like a fresh bouquet of flower in a way. It's like a light white flower, almost like white jasmine. Not like those really, really strong fragrance jasmine. It's like the tiny white flower jasmine that's just hints of really, really floral notes to it. It has this sweetness, almost like rock sugary in a way. Now, even though I'm using boiling water, you should still try to cool it down a little bit when you drink it, so it's easier to drink. This is serving people white tea is one of the easiest way to kind of trick people thinking they're not hot, because they kind of light in color for some reason. People's mind is just automatically just assume it's not hot. No, it's very hot, right? It's weird. If I'm serving you a black tea, often most customer will they will just assume like, oh, that's gonna be hot, I should wait. But when I serve people like something like white tea, because it looks just like water and then they can't really see the steam, often people burn themselves the most. So be careful with serving white tea to other people. Remind them that it's still very hot because I'm using boiling water to bring out all the flavor. Do not worry about making it bitter. Very, very easy. You can even like put it in the glass pot and then boil it for like 30 minutes. It should be okay, right? White tea is great to drink in the morning. It's great to drink while you're studying, when you're trying to focus. The caffeine is not as strong as like a green tea. It's a little bit more gentle for your stomach. Green tea is fine too, like a really good green tea, but white tea is a lot more like you can do that all day long. You know, you can drink it in the morning, you can drink it in the afternoon, evening. For people that are sensitive, maybe I would avoid evening, but in general, most of the time, because the flavor is kind of like just light and almost like a really delicious water anyway. It doesn't make you feel thick of it. You can kind of like drink it all day. You can put it in the tumbler, you know, and especially those tumbler that keep the water hot for like 24 hours. Those are great for white tea, and you can just leave it in the tumbler and never have to remove them. And then it will actually one of the few tea that only get better as you make it stronger. And for those are new, a lot of time people don't know that white tea you can age them, especially a good quality white tea like this. The more you age them, the sweeter it becomes. Often farmer like this place, they don't normally have time to age them, so they always encourage us to buy as much as possible for us to store them. They don't have the room to store them because every year they have to make a new one. Doesn't mean you cannot age them. Normally in the market, the white tea that they age are lower quality. That's to compensate the flavor that is weak and to compensate the bitterness out of the cheaper quality white tea. Doesn't mean higher quality white tea you cannot age. You can definitely age them. It's going to taste amazing. I have a 2017 white tea from this farm that is like using the highest quality, but it's not available unfortunately. It's just sorry to say, it's my personal collection, but it's really, really special. Maybe one of these days I'll make a video out of it. But but if you ever find a white tea that you like, definitely you want to try to leave a little bit to age them. Right? Not every year is going to be a really good environment for white tea. This year in particular, they make a really, really good white tea from this Master Wang. So I try to buy as much as variety of white tea as I can from this year's crop. I'm very excited. I will eventually release all of them to everybody. But for now, this is the first white tea that excites me. Part of it because the way it looks. I've never seen anything like this. And I do think it's one of the cleanest white tea. Kind of light, really good texture, really fresh, almost like a sweet tofu kind of smells also. Very cooling, almost like a refreshing peppermint kind of feel. You know, that's a good white tea when it feels like it opened up your throat instead of like closing it. Pay attention on how if you ever had white tea before, pay attention on how the throat feel next time. It's not really, often it doesn't really feel that good. Anyway, this is my review of this new, sorry, I didn't say the name of this tea. This is called Ba Ba Cha. Ba 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 mean is to pull. So I think it's because it leaves some of the stems. So maybe instead of like picking it, they pull it. I don't know. I actually didn't ask like why is it called Ba Ba Cha. But that's my guess. It's a Ba Ba Cha white tea. So again, unfortunately, it's very difficult to pack this tea, so I wouldn't be selling it online yet, and it really takes a lot of room. And this is only fit like roughly about 200 grams, so it's really not a lot, and it takes a lot of space. So I'm only have a little bit anyway, but it is really cool for those that is in the tea club. You're able to get to try this white tea for this month. Hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comment, any questions, put it in the comment section. If I have any leftover, I can definitely still sell you this white tea. Just shoot me an email and I'll see what I have. Other than that, see you again until the next video. Bye.